Okay, Broncos. Snap. Looks like we are live, but you guys know the drill by now. We've got to let the stream breathe for just a second here and make sure that everything is nice and stable all across the YouTube platform. Welcome in, Broncos country, to this Denver Broncos Syndicate live stream as your Denver Broncos are officially AFC West champions for the first time in 10 years. The Los Angeles Chargers, they were defeated today by the Houston Texans, so Denver officially has the AFC West title. If the Chargers had won this game, Denver would have had to play for the AFC West title at home against the Chargers next week. Denver is still going to have to play starters in that game because they're going to have to earn the number one seed. There are some outcomes this week where they can earn the number one seed, but they involve the New England Patriots losing to the New York Jets, so I don't think that's going to realistically happen, and I wouldn't want it any other way. I don't want the Broncos to back into the number one seed. I want them to go out there and take it, and they have an opportunity to do that in this upcoming game against the Chargers. We've got D. Brown in the house saying, being a long time coming. We got David in the house, KB, Turtle, we got Demetrius, we got David saying this is setting up quite nicely. It sure is. We're going to go through the AFC playoff scenarios here using the ESPN playoff machine. So we will do that in just 1 second, guys. We're going to go ahead and tend to some housekeeping matters, though. If you could just do me a big favor and smash the like button on the Sorry about that, guys. Just had a little bit of a mishap there. Looks like we are all good. But if you could just do me a big favor and smash the like button on the stream, as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. Those are both free and easy ways to show your support. Helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out, and it helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. Additionally, if you want to go above and beyond in supporting the channel, please consider becoming a channel member or a supporter on Patreon. The links to do both are in the description below. Really does help us out. And if you want to get some extra perks and incentives, including access to ad-free content, consider joining on Patreon. That is the best way to show your support, in my opinion. So let's see here. We've got Bronco Fan for Life saying, feels good, been too long. Exotic Zach saying, let's go. Back to being number one in our division, right where we should be. Dr. Checkmate, wow, decent game from Houston. Yeah, it was kind of up and down, man. You didn't know if Houston was going to hold on to it, but ultimately they did. They made enough plays at the end. They were able to run it out, and they were able to get into victory formation. Houston, at the beginning of the game, looked like they were going to run away with it, but ultimately they ended up stalling out. The Chargers made a few plays and made it a much more interesting contest. Thankfully, the better team prevailed. Mr. Van Sola says, let's bow. Dennis says, AFC West. Now let's go win the rest. I love that. I absolutely love that. Luis Pacheco, West champs. Let's go. Kevin, let's go. AFC West champs. Dr. Checkmate says, feeling good. The Broncos need to score to win in the playoffs. For sure, but I'd argue that Denver has a good formula for winning in the playoffs, being able to stay in these close games. The defense plays their best when it matters most. So does their quarterback. By the time we get to the playoffs, we should be able to run the football better, hopefully with the return of J.K. Dobbins. So I think Denver has a good formula for being able to win in the playoffs. Backseat Driver saying AFC champs. We got Mr. Memes here saying, remember, guys, don't buy division merch. Just wait till we get the Broncos Super Bowl champion merch. I love that. Absolutely love that. I know that the Broncos themselves, they don't care about the hats and T-shirts, and I think it's kind of fitting that they're not actually playing today and they don't get to be in the locker room to get the hats and T-shirts. I don't think Sean Payton wants any of that stuff. He wants to focus on the bigger task at hand, which is winning in the playoffs and ultimately getting to the Super Bowl and winning it. So I completely agree with this, man. Don't buy your division merch just yet. Just wait until we can get to the Super Bowl 100%. I'm glad the Denver Broncos are AFC West champions. I think we all are, man. It's been a long time coming. We've had to suffer through Kansas City winning the division for the last 9 seasons. Just absolutely brutal. And now Denver is finally back in their rightful spot on top. Mr. Ranger says, go Bills. I got a feeling we'll be seeing the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs. I see the Chargers resting their players in Denver next. We're going to go through all of the scenarios here on the ESPN playoff machine. So we'll see if the Chargers can advance their seeding or not. I honestly don't know the answer to that. We're going to have to go through the playoff simulator here, but we'll go ahead and continue saying hi to some people. Jamin says, yo, Dennis, West champs. Let's go, Broncos AFC West champs, says C. Chang. Cairo says, now go win next week and get the #1 seed. Absolutely, and that's what the Denver Broncos are focused on. Let's see here. Turtles with the hearts. Jamming in the past saying, yo. Robert says, hello from Baltimore, Maryland. Wave at all the haters. Absolutely, man. Let those haters eat it. Any word on Dobbins' progress? I haven't heard anything recently, but based on Sean Payton's indications, it's looking good that he might be back for the playoffs. Oh, yeah, we are AFC West champs. Let's go. But again, man, we've got bigger fish to fry at this point. Jammin says, yo, Baltimore, K-Dub, woo, go Broncos. Now we need to get that #1 seed. The road to the Super Bowl goes through Denver. That's the ultimate goal, man. If you can get that #1 seed, you won't have to leave Denver again until the trip to the Super Bowl, until you go to Santa Clara, California. If Denver wins this game against the Chargers, that is what's on the line here. By winning the division, the worst they can be is the #4 seed, and they are guaranteed at least one playoff game at Empower Field at Mile High. We don't know if that first game is going to be a wild card game or a divisional round game. We will find that out next week. Also, we should find out when the Broncos are actually going to play the Chargers. Is it going to be on Saturday or Sunday? Is it going to be on prime time? So we should also find out that information here very shortly. I'm going to go ahead and actually... Okay, sorry about that, guys. Let's get back into this here. Happy Chargers loss. Indeed, man. They truly chargered this one up. That's one on Sean Payton. Next is AFC. Absolutely. AFC champ, baby. Let's go. Sean says goals are #1, win the division 2, #1 seed, #3, Super Bowl, on to goal #2. Love that. KB says some third world country is wearing Chargers AFC champ shirts. That's funny. Somewhere someone thinks the Bills won 4 straight Super Bowls. Lino says AFC West champions. Let's go. Hey, we exceeded this year, and I'm getting my merch. Nice. Dennis says, let's go, Broncos. Called it before the preseason. No, we have not clinched the first round bye yet. That will happen next week. Chargers are beat up, especially Herbert. Herbert, their offensive line's beat up. They've got injuries on defense. They're just completely destroyed by injuries right now. Ready, set up, says, let's go. Beat the Chargers next, let's go. We got bigger plans, but division guarantees a home game, which is nice. Plan B outside our bigger plans. A fail-safe, if you will. For sure, for sure. Jammin says Denver beats the Bulls. They are in the #1 seed. Absolutely. Leonard says DB4L. Win by 3 or 10 next week. I don't know. I'm kind of hoping we can win by more than that. Go out there and establish dominance next week against this Chargers team, especially because their offensive line is so shaky. I have to imagine that Denver's pass rush is going to be able to flourish in this one. Feel a lot better about our game. Chargers are charging. Exactly. That's what it feels like right now for sure. We got a super chat from Derek. Thank you so much for the $20. Says 4 more wins. Yep. 4 more wins. That's all it takes. And we are Super Bowl champions, baby. That is so freaking awesome to think about. Let's see here. We got Cross saying, hell yeah. Dennis Mirth saying, LOL. It's good we have something to play for next week. We don't want 2 bye weeks together. And I understand that logic because it's the whole rust versus rest argument. You don't want your guys to be too rested because then they won't be in playoff ready shape, football ready shape, however you want to put it. So I can totally understand that argument. Get the #1 seed, be able to rest your starters the first week of the playoffs, and then you can have just 3 straight games and you are golden, baby. 4 more wins. That Chargers-Texans game was ugly. It was ugly. It really was. But at the end of the day, we got the result that we needed. Pat Bryant, he should be ready to go for the playoffs. I don't know about the Chargers game, but I imagine he will be back for the first playoff game. Do you think the Chargers will play those starters next week? I'm going to go ahead and get through the rest of these chats here, and then we will go through those scenarios. I don't know if they still have anything to play for, if they can advance their seeding. We will go through that with the ESPN playoff machine. Chargers should sit starters since the AFC West title is out of reach. Yeah, but if they could get up to maybe the number 5 seed, then I think they will end up playing starters. I truly feel the Broncos will be Super Bowl 60 champions. That's what it feels like, man. It's feeling so good. Herbert got sacked like 10 times, which makes me feel good about the matchup this coming week for the Broncos, given the fact that their pass rush is able to get home at a consistent basis. They didn't get home last week, but that's because they were trying to contain Chris Oladokun in the pocket, and it just did not work. I'm glad the Chargers lost. Now let's go get the number 1 seed. I did see it, KB. I did see the tail end of it. That was absolutely awesome. We technically can, Jackson, but it would involve the New York Jets having to beat the New England Patriots, which realistically, that's just not going to happen. Herbert got tossed like a rag doll. Chargers should sit their starters. We'll talk about that in just a second. I do feel like Dobbins will be back for the playoffs, and of course he's going to have a chip on his shoulder, man. He's upset about the way that he got injured, so I would imagine he would absolutely have a chip on his shoulder. Is it possible by next week the Chargers are locked in their seat and have nothing to play for? We'll go through that. Broncos ain't doing much if they don't get this worked out. I think that they'll be just fine. I mean, they've gotten this wake-up call at the right time, so they're going to have plenty of time and opportunity to get this fixed. What happens if Denver loses next week? The worst they can be is the number 4 seed. Dobbins will dominate. Pats and Jags lose tomorrow would really benefit the Broncos. McConkey was a non-factor. Yes, he was. Pats and Jags lose. That would be a thumbs up from C. Ching. All right, let's go ahead and go through these scenarios here and bring in the ESPN playoff machine. Why don't we? So, obviously, Denver, well in control of the number 1 seed. If they win next week, they are going to attain that. Let's go ahead and go through the rest of the teams that have, or the games that have playoff implications here for the AFC. You've got Ravens and Packers in a backup quarterback bowl. I've got to give the advantage to Green Bay here, but Baltimore, if they win that, they're still in contention for the number 4 seed. They're in contention still for the AFC North, but it's looking really tough for them. And if Pittsburgh beats the Cleveland Browns, which I fully expect them to do, then Baltimore's going to be out of the playoffs. Unfortunately, I do have to have the New England Patriots beating the New York Jets. I just don't see the Jets with Brady Cook beating the Patriots. Maybe we get some sort of miracle. It's the old adage of any given Sunday, but as of right now, I just don't see it happening. I've got probably the Jacksonville Jaguars beating the Indianapolis Colts. Maybe old man Phillip has one more in him, but the Colts have been officially eliminated from the playoffs, which is definitely unfortunate. This game also has implications here for the Broncos 1 seed. If the Colts somehow were to win this game, if the Bills were to somehow lose to the Philadelphia Eagles, which I don't see happening in Buffalo, and if the Jets were to beat the Patriots, that would lead to the number 1 seed for the Denver Broncos. But that's all of the Week 17 games. Let's go ahead and take a look at these Week 18 games here. Let's say that Denver beats the Chargers. Obviously, they'll be the number 1 seed, and it's looking like the Chargers, they would be the number 7 seed here. If they win, they can come up to the 6th seed. So, yeah, the Chargers probably will be playing their starters in this game because they can advance their seeding if they win. We come over here. Patriots, they're probably going to beat the Dolphins. Other playoff-worthy games, Steelers, give them a dub there most likely. Colts and Texans, I imagine that Texans will take care of business there. Bills probably will take care of business over Jets, and then Jags over Titans. So that's how I imagine this is going to end up looking here for the Denver Broncos. Let's go ahead and have all those same outcomes happen, and then the Broncos end up losing to the Chargers. They can fall pretty much down to the 3rd seed. That's as far down as they can realistically slide because they're not going to fall down to the number 4 seed. That's going to be either the Pittsburgh Steelers, most likely the Pittsburgh Steelers, or the Baltimore Ravens, whoever wins the AFC North. So at worst, Denver would be the 3rd seed, and they would most likely host the Houston Texans in the wild card round. So you're still going to need this win here for the Denver Broncos. It is going to be super duper duper important. Let's get back in here. There is a scenario, again, we just went over that, but it's not a very likely scenario. Jets and Patriots equals classic trap game. I sure hope so. I really do. I'm hoping that the Jets come out, they play aggressive, they play like they have nothing to lose, and the Patriots maybe get a little bit too complacent. That would be nice. Who is the most likely matchup for the Broncos? Well, I think the most likely scenario is that the Denver Broncos get the number 1 seed and they've got the first round bye in the playoffs. So we'll check in on the matchups after that happens. If they do end up having to play on wild card weekend, it's probably going to be against the Houston Texans. Yep, everything is fully in the Broncos' control. Patriots did lose to the Raiders. Yes, they did. Of course, it was week 1, but like I said, it's the old adage of any given Sunday. Old man Rivers actually looks great out there, not going to lie. He can still dissect a defense. He's excellent pre-snap at the line of scrimmage, and honestly, I don't think he's too bad in terms of still throwing the ball. His arm strength is very much still there. I don't think the Chargers will play those starters. I imagine they will because they probably want to at least get that number 6 seed. I don't know if they want to be stuck with the 7th seed. Jim Harbaugh, if there's something to play for, he's going to play his starters, in my opinion. Should be an easy win next week. I mean, there's no such thing as an easy win in the NFL, but I do think the Denver Broncos have a really good chance in that game. I think it's a good matchup for them. Congratulations, Broncos. Let's go. I don't think they care if they get the 6th or the 7th seed. Maybe, but I don't know. I still think Harbaugh is going to play his starters. 7th seed's probably better because they'd rather play New England than Jacksonville. I don't know about that. I'd rather go to Jacksonville than go to New England. First of all, the weather's going to be better. If you have to go up to New England, it's probably going to be cold, windy. I don't know if the Chargers want to deal with those kind of elements. Either way, the Chargers are probably cooked, so I'd rather go to Jacksonville personally. If the Texans play in the morning spot against the Colts and win, wouldn't the Chargers be stuck with the seed they have? Let's go ahead and run that through. So let's go ahead and give the Chargers the dub here against Denver. And let's go ahead and say that the Texans win. Yeah, I think you are actually right there. So, okay, yeah, they would be stuck right there with the 7th seed. So, yeah, it actually does look like the Chargers could sit their starters in this game. It is very realistic. I don't think the Chargers risk any injuries on a meaningless game just to go play Pittsburgh instead of New England. I don't know, man. In that given scenario, it is definitely possible. Houston kind of had a glow-up mid-season. I feel like they'd be a tough opponent postseason. I don't think anybody wants to play Houston right now. They're like that one team that nobody wants to play. Jets need to play like they want their jobs tomorrow, for sure, for sure. Incoming number 1 seed, it's simple. If the Denver Broncos win their game, they are the number 1 seed. 2 dominoes fall, 3 to go. Let's go Jets, Eagles, and Colts. Play warm weather rather than cold. Yeah, I think Chargers would want to play in Jacksonville realistically, but there is a chance that they won't be able to advance their seeding any further, and if that happens, then they'll end up just sitting their starters, it almost feels like. Texans not being the Jags in the playoffs. I mean, I don't think so either, realistically. Is Jones out for the season? I'm assuming you're referring to Brandon Jones. He's not out for the season, but he's going to be out for the foreseeable future. Herbert's always hurting. They may sit him. One big problem. The Jets suck. That they do. Texans wild card would be a problem. Jacksonville's scarier than H-Town. I agree. I definitely agree with that. They are a really, really, really good football team. We saw it firsthand here in Denver. But the Denver Broncos, AFC West champions, baby. It's been a long time since we got to say that. We haven't got to say that since 10 calendar years ago. relish in it, Broncos country. Enjoy it. It's not every season that we're going to have a good football team. It's not every season that we're going to have a division champion. It's not every season that we're going to have at least 13 wins on a year. So enjoy it, relish in it, and be grateful that we have this opportunity, because I remember what it was like for the last 9 seasons. It was absolute hell, Broncos country. It wasn't fun. It was miserable. My first season covering this team was 2022, the Nathaniel Hackett year. That year, it felt like we were so far away from this moment. And being able to get Sean Payton in here, get Bo Nix in here, get rid of the Russell Wilson fiasco and disaster. Ever since that moment, we've been able to turn into a good football team. And I'm so grateful for that. I am so grateful for that. It was 20 degrees in Boston yesterday, so I agree. Going to Jacksonville would be better December weather. They're playing great ball right now to boot, especially Lawrence, for sure, man. But I think realistically, the Chargers would rather go to Jacksonville and play the Jaguars than have to go up to New England. Texans only scoring 20 points per game. Their defense is carrying the whole team, for sure, but that defense is a championship caliber defense. We know the saying, offense wins games, defense wins championships. I'm so proud of what we accomplished this season. Me too, man. They've exceeded my expectations, and at this point, I really think they can be a Super Bowl team. Dennis says, always grateful. Yeah, that was brutal. Oh, dude, that was the worst year to possibly start doing this. I'm so glad I stuck with it, but it was miserable. Yeah, the Broncos do have the number 1 seed. I did say that. They are in firm control of the number 1 seed. They have it right now, and if they win, they're going to still have it. The Broncos look past Jacksonville. They can handle them again. Ownership has turned this team around. Are we getting anyone back for the Chargers game? We don't know yet. We should find that out this coming Wednesday when the Broncos get back to practice. What scenario forces the Chargers into the 7th? Well, that's where they are right now. They can only advance if the Colts beat the Texans, which realistically isn't going to happen. So that's the only way that the Chargers can kick themselves up to the 6th seed. So you've got that game. I don't know how they're going to schedule them here. I don't know if the Broncos and Chargers are going to maybe play on Saturday or if they're going to play on Sunday night. If this Colts and Texans game is before the Broncos-Chargers game and the Texans beat the Colts, then the Chargers, they might end up resting their starters in that one because that would force them to the number 7 seed. I mean, he's one of the best kickers in football. He just picked a bad day to have a bad day, honestly. Texans can beat the Colts, but you never know. For sure, man. And the Indianapolis Colts, they're a fighting football team. It's probably going to be Phillip Rivers' last game of his career, so he's going to want to go out swinging. No, they're going to keep starting him. They pretty much indicated that they did not bring Phillip Rivers in to sit on the bench, and just from a respect standpoint with Rivers, they're going to let him finish this thing out because he's started every single eligible game of his career. If they put him on the bench, that would end his start streak. I don't think they're going to do that. They already know Riley Leonard's not going to be the future for them. Neither is Anthony Richardson. The Colts are in a really tough spot right now because if I'm them, I'm not re-signing Daniel Jones. The injuries are just too concerning. Every single year, it seems like Daniel Jones gets hurt. Indy's in a really tough spot, but Riley Leonard, it's pretty clear he's not the guy. Anthony Richardson, he can't pick up the offense from a mental perspective. So, yeah, they're just in a really bad spot right now. They're going to finish this thing out with Rivers and then see where they go next year, in my opinion. 6 weeks ago, the Colts were number 1. They were, man. Just goes to show how quick you can fall in the NFL. Pretty sure every playoff team wants to face the Broncos. I disagree with that. I don't think anybody wants to go into Mile High to play. That is a tough place to play in the playoffs, man. You've got the altitude. Nobody wants to go into Mile High to play in the playoffs. I can guarantee you that. Colts guys kind of screwed themselves with the Sauce Gardner trade. They did. They definitely did, man. Justin says, I'm happy. We got King Reddick saying, let's go AFC West champions. Let's go Gage. They're not high enough to get a quarterback. I'd look at Shedeur Sanders and bring in a vet like Marcus Mariota. I mean, that's probably what they're going to have to do. They don't have a first-round pick this year or next year. And unless they can land some sort of mid-tier veteran, I don't know. Jammin says hogwash. FL says Herbert should be rested for the playoffs. I think it's all going to depend on scheduling. If this Broncos-Chargers game is before the Colts-Texans game, then Herbert might play. If it's after that game, then I think there's a good chance Herbert will sit. Get that salty phrase out of our memory. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wind this stream down. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Be sure to smash that like button as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. I would really appreciate it, guys. Those are both free and easy ways to show your support. Helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out, and it helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. Additionally, if you want to go above and beyond in supporting the channel, please consider becoming a channel member or a Patreon supporter. Patreon is slightly better because they take less of a cut than YouTube, but either way, really would help me out, and you can get access to all kinds of perks and incentives. Link is in the description below. Thank you so much for tuning in, Broncos country. We are AFC West champions, baby. Let's go. I'm your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.